All right, so I just made a duplicate of all my color. I merged all those, and just so I could put a white stroke around it. And then I'm not done. I don't need to be done. If I want to add other attributes, I can duplicate and carry things on top. And here I might want to try a layer style of, instead of a color overlay, we can try a gradient, right? So it's just showing you all the things, just like when we colored our logos. And this time I'm going to do the gradient between this bright yellow. This is running behind the satin. The bright yellow. And on the other side of the spectrum is going to be this darker golden color. Man, that's subtle. So I might expand that a little bit. So let's throw a lighter yellow in there. Kind of in the middle. There we go. And then I can play with where in the gradient it goes. As long as Photopea can keep up with me. Remember, we're at high resolution, so it's good to save your work as you go, and it would probably be good if I close these programs. So that gradient you have control of. You also have control of the angle of it. And the opacity of it. So all of these things are yours to command. And then I decide, do I like that better? I'm going to take that whole thing down a little bit. But I do like that. I like that little gradation in there. Just those slight variations. They make it sing. All right, next, highlights. That can just go on top, like color holds. And just like when I was doing duotone color for my spot illustration, I'm just going to take a new layer and I'm just going to cut out little shapes with my lasso. Hold down Shift so I can add them together, inspired by that inspiration. They're not everywhere. They're on like kind of the big curving surfaces. To kind of show that bubble letter. I was never the one in elementary school who was good at bubble letters. But doing a little text blocking sketch, it really helps. And then, of course, the vector tools help to clean things up. I think that will do it. So now I'm just going to fill all of those with white. No need to make it complicated. And because they're on their own layer, nighthawks, right? I can soften them very slightly, just like I changed my hard edge to soft edge. I can go to blur, Gaussian blur, and then I'm just going to take them down maybe 3 pixels. And then I can always take their opacity just down slightly. So you don't even notice the highlights at first. But do they help? Yeah, they help. Okay, now I can turn off my inspiration. There we go. Come on. And color the star. The star is its own vector. But I want to increase the size a little bit more because I have a tangency happening right here. Tangency is bad. Tangency is uncomfortable touching. And I say this not to be weird, but so you remember it. It's like an uncle at a family reunion. Right? So you want to avoid that uncle. You want to avoid tangencies in your design. So how do we do it? You either really enforce the overlap or you undersell it, right? So you need to fix that tangency. So I'm going to give it more space, increase the canvas size. You can do it in inches, and I'm going to make it 17 inches wide, and I'm going to make it 21 inches tall. Grow from the center. And then it's very easy to just fill my background again with, actually, I'll leave my background. I'm going to fill a layer behind that background with white. And that gave me my border. So a new layer behind my blue background. So just by growing it on each side, I've created a border. And we're all required to have one. Now on this, I can decide to either fix that tangency by having all my colored type and my black type and my highlights, Option Command T, by having it fit more neatly within the blue. Come on, keep up with me, right? Or I can make it intentionally overlap and go beyond it. So those are the two ways you can fix a tangency. You just don't want to leave it right at that uncomfortable spot where it's touching. And I like the idea of kind of pretty bold poster design where you've designed a border, but then you have elements that break the edge of the border. Come on, Photopea, keep up with me. I'm doing good stuff here. Don't glitch. All right, there we go. It moved too much, too quick, but it did it. Come on. All right, so I'm going to move it now. I made it bigger than it needs to be so that now it's intentionally breaking the border. You guys see that? And if I feel that needs to be even stronger, I can always just stretch it a little bit. A little bit more. I can even distort it. Skew it. But I don't want the tangency at the edge of the paper. So it's a delicate balance. Especially when Photopea takes such a long time to do it. Come on. Do it for me. Yeah. Does the opposite. All right, so like that. That's good. So it's intentionally breaking the border. It's not uncomfortably touching anywhere. Now how do I color the star? Just a quick review. I'm going to duplicate it. You always duplicate. And then I'm going to play with, I'm actually just going to go straight to rasterizing it and using my coloring skills from my spot illustration. Use my paint bucket tool. Hold down Option, steal a color, and drop that color in where I want it. Get a slightly darker color, drop that color in. Come on, keep up. Jeez. And because it's a vector, even though I rasterized it, they're always going to be perfectly clean. Now I'm going to take the red. Actually, I'll take the darker red that's right on the base. And I'll fill those in. Ooh. And then what is it missing? Just a nice white stroke around it. Yeah. You see how clean that is, even though it's rasterized, because it's based on the vector. And it was all looking so good, and then, damn, if there wasn't a little thing that must have been wrong in the vector. So what do I do to fix it? I do this, I take all of it that's visible, put it into a group, duplicate that group, even though it takes a lot of layers, and then merge that group all together so that I can turn it off there, and then I can just fix it with 100% opacity with a hard brush, doing 100% clone stamping, just to fix this little issue, which is an issue with my vector. And how do I know it's an issue with my vector? Because it's just a little bump that was left there. Come on, give me the edge. Or I can just use my lasso and delete it. Trim that edge. I don't think it's from the blue. The blue's just flat. Oh, but even that 1 pixel feather, right? That didn't work. So once you know how to work in between raster and vector files, you'll get much cleaner work. Now, on my star, maybe I want a satin as well. And it will remember my default settings from before. That works pretty well. And maybe I want a little highlight in there. So I just do another little layer, a little lasso, just a little shape. Maybe just a little shape here. Maybe just a little shape here. Fill it with white. Take the opacity down. Maybe way down, and maybe soften it a bit, maybe a lot. Under Gaussian blur. Yeah. That allows me to take the opacity up. All right. So we've got ourselves color type. Now, how do I put that up to canvas? I'm just going to turn off the background, let it be filled with white, and then I'm going to do another screen grab. Command-Shift-4, get a little bit of that black edge so you can see my layout. And then that goes to canvas. Then, to finish it off, I need to bring in my best assignment 5 spot illustration. My best PNG. Let's see, I think I want... Do I want this one? Do I want this one? Oh, this is the one I have highlighted. So I want that one with the color holds. Right. So I'm going to drag and drop that in. It comes in as a smart object. And then I can place that, tilt it, adjust it. Any way that works. And now, I think the only thing I still need is some texture. So to get texture, I'm going to go to our old compositing friendly site, Pixabay, and I'm going to be teaching you about halftone screen angles for printing soon. And if you just look up halftone, you'll get 236 images of different uses of separating gradients into shapes. These are called halftone dot patterns. Sometimes you'll halftone with lines. And I just want to add some texture to my background. You'll see this a lot in commercial art, whether they're gradients or something else. This is using the vocabulary of printing. This is a particularly good one because it shows halftone screen dots, but as kind of a vintage coloring. So I'm going to download that at its full resolution. And I'm going to drag and drop that on. Well, first I'll move it from downloads into my assignment. then onto my